everybody. My name is Irma, and I am the founder and CEO of Cafecito. We're a platform that creates serendipitous connections for individuals as well as organizations all over the world. And we have these coffee side chats that are really fun for me, and I essentially share these with the community on Cafecito. Today we have Lewis. He's a software engineer. He has a ton of awesome tutorials on his blog about Django and just a lot of different technical frameworks. And he's here today to chat with us, learn more about his story, learn more about what he's doing today, and also dive a little bit into what work he's doing with non-technical founders as well. So we're going to get into that right now. But if you haven't checked out Cafecito yet, you can check it out at meetcafecito.com. And this will be available on YouTube and probably a podcast down the line. But super excited to have Lewis here today with us. So Lewis, how are you?
Doing great, and I'm super glad to be here. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, glad to have you here as well. So the way that I like to get started with these is just a quick introduction. So if you can tell us where you are, what you do, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Louis. I'm a software engineer based in Nairobi, Kenya, and I like working with non-technical founders to bring their ideas to life. It's really what I enjoy doing, bringing up startups and just working with people.
Cool. And you're located in Nairobi right now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. How's have you lived there your whole life or
Yeah, I've lived here my whole life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I've never been, but would be awesome to at some point. Yeah.
We'll take you on a safari once you come
A
here.
safari. There you go. That'd be super cool. Sweet. So as you mentioned, you have been a software engineer for quite a bit now. How did you get into software engineering? What got you kind of that spark of like, I want to build, I want to code. How did that kind of come about for you?
Well, I went through the normal route, I'd say. The normal route, I went to school. In campus, I did computer science. And then down the line, I started picking up some work, and that's how I got into it. And I'd say from when I was a kid, I was always interested in computers. Back then, the internet penetration where I wasn't as high. But then again, I was lucky enough to have computers around me, so that got me interested in computers. Playing games on Cartoon Network, yeah, that got me interested in how computers work.
Nice. That's awesome. I think that's how a lot of people kind of stumbled into coding. That's kind of how it happened for me. Like I'm not a coder at all, but back in like 2015, I taught myself front end development, and it was like Code Academy, which was a platform that I was using to learn, and it's super popular now. I think back then they were just kind of like maybe getting started, but yeah, I remember like writing like some HTML and like seeing the page just like show up on the right hand side, and the style, it was super plain. It was like a bunch of headings and some text, but it was super cool, right? Because you're essentially writing, syntax that tells the computer, hey, show this heading, and then it just appears, and you're like, it's magic. It's not really magic, but there's a lot of work behind it. Yeah. So after you kind of like got that start, did you do a lot of freelance work? Did you try to find a job? What was that experience for you like?
Yeah, so what I did was, while in campus, I used to do a lot of freelance work. So I used to, just to get myself learning, I'd say, if you have a website you need made, and do it for, maybe I didn't pick up as much money, but what I did was, my aim was to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'd make it for you for this amount of money. So I'm saving them money, but in the process, what I did was I was learning. But then now, after that, I got a job and at a web dev agency, and that's what we've been doing for a long time. That's what I do that right now, but then I work as a freelancer.
Awesome. Love that. That's super cool. Yeah, lots of initiative. That's awesome though. So, what I know, like COVID and everything, in this past year has been really crazy for a lot of people. How's that been like for you? How's that been for you, your life? your work. Has anything changed in kind of the past year?
Yeah, so the work I did now, we transitioned to fully remote. Before we were going to the office like a few times a week.
Yeah.
With COVID, we had to shift our work culture and move to remote. Now you have to, and when you're working remotely, you have to change how you think, how you communicate. So yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge, but it's actually really good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that working remotely is a good thing, but the COVID situation has been tough
Yeah.
for a lot of people out. You can't, like, I enjoy working out, the gyms were closed.
Hmm.
Through it all, you're safe. I've been safe, my family has been
Right.
safe.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you guys stayed safe. Kind of talking about we mentioned about remote work. What has been kind of the biggest challenge for you when you would go into the office? How has your, I guess, mindset shifted, um, getting used to remote work?
When you're working remotely, first of all, you can get really bored. Being alone, working in your home, inside the home, you have to find a way of communicating with your co-workers. But when you're in the office, there's random conversation that unites you as a team. Yeah, so that has been a challenge.
Yeah. Are you doing anything right now to kind of like help that within your team?
Yeah, well, right now we organizing retreats like we're going out to mountain climbing or meeting up
Hmm.
on weekends just to have that team teamwork.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's I don't think any a company, I don't think companies have figured it out yet. But I think it's cool that people are they're trying to find solutions right now, right? Because it's such a big problem. So it's going to be, I think it's interesting just the amount of tools that are coming out to try to solve it, and um, just kind of seeing that evolve in the next few years. So we're gonna kind of switch topics, kind of like dive a little bit deeper into your time and your experience with helping non-technical founders. Can you tell us a bit more about what that's been like, who you kind of tend to work with, any industries that you tend to work with, and any learnings that you've had from working with non-technical founders that you'd want to share with folks today?
Okay, so let me just start with how I started working
Yeah.
with them and the background that led me to working with them. So it all boils down to my blog. What I started, I started my blog as a way of documenting my learning journey. Anything I learn, I just write it there as a way of me referencing it in future, or if anyone encounters the same problem, because the problems are a bit technical. So I hope that if anyone encountered the same problem, we'd find a detailed
Hmm.
guide on how to do it. And then now people started texting me, hey, I've read your blog. I'm an untechnical person and I want to make an online business doing X, Y, and Z. Then now in the process, you find some of them telling you, hey, can you teach me? Can you help me do this and that? Can you build my business? Yeah, and that's how I found myself starting to work with them. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's been an interesting journey because in the process of trying to, because I that was not the goal
Hmm.
initially.
Yeah.
That was not the goal initially, but when you're providing value to people, then I think everything works out on its own. Yeah.
Awesome. And how are you working with many founders across many industries, or is it kind of like one industry that you seem to mainly work with?
Yeah. Okay. So what happened is, so because my blog is being read by a lot of people, so you find that people want to implement different things, but I tend to work with people in real estate a lot and e-commerce. Real estate and e-commerce is what I
Nice.
mainly work with, but I'm really open to working with anyone as long as I'm providing value
Hmm.
to you and helping you solve a technical issue that you have.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Something that code can fix and look into it.
Yeah. Awesome. That's super awesome. Yeah, there's a ton of non-technical founders that don't know what to do. And I've seen a lot of folks just outsource all of their development work to like teams or agencies from all over the world, and they don't really know because you're non-technical. You don't know how they're implementing the tech, right? Because you kind of say like, "Hey, this is what I want to see delivered," right? An app or a website or a landing page. But it seems like there's a lot that's lost in just translation. So like when I say, "Hey, I want to build, an e-commerce website for my clothing business," and that's what I want to build, right? Giving that to like a team and then seeing what they deliver for you can be super different. So I think it's great that you're an individual who's trying to one like help them but also teach them, right? Like teaching them, hey, this is what I'm doing, right? Like I'm building an e-commerce landing page like this. I'm going to use these tools, or you're going to be able to go in and edit things on your own. Because I think a lot of times, like when you get technical help, they don't really empower the founder much, right? Because you have to go to the person and say, "Hey, Lewis, can you can you change the color over here, or can you like switch out this text over here?" So I think it's really important, just in general, with like with non-technical founders, like asking asking for that education in some ways, and then also asking, how am I going to be able to go in 6 months and change something, right? Am I going to have to contact you to make that change? Because that creates bottlenecks, right, in that process. Do you have any thoughts on that, or like anything you've experienced around that with clients?
Some people are very hands-on when it
Yeah.
comes to their to their platforms that they're building. So you find them, hey, how can I do this? How can I, not always. I'm not always going to be there if you need it, if you need me. So beginning this conversation, I told you about how remote work has forced us to enhance our communication. So I tend to work with people from all across the globe. So you have to be that communication has to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so once you communicate a certain way to these people, whether by writing or by
Mm-hmm.
video call, just conveying that value, that knowledge to them in a way that they can understand.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. Yeah. If I've written something and I'm not there to fully guide them, I've documented it so
Yeah.
they can check out what they need
Exactly.
to learn.
Yeah. That's great. Props to you. More people should be doing that.
I don't really mind. I'd like to teach one day. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'm building the foundation towards that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all progress towards the bigger vision that you have. So that's awesome. And then my kind of like last question, if anybody listening like wants to get in touch with you to work with you, or to just like, learn more about you, where can they go to find you, whether it's social media or your website? Where can they go and learn more about Lewis?
Well, if they want to learn more about me, they can visit my website, lewiskori.com. And if they want to communicate with me, the quickest way is either through the social media provided there, Twitter primarily, and email. Email is
Awesome.
okay. Into it. Yeah.
Cool. Any last pieces of advice to non-technical founders that might be listening, and anything you'd recommend?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest advice I'd give to non-technical founders is if you want to make a tech-based solution, it should be something that provides value to whoever you are targeting. A lot of people come and say, I want to make A, B, and C, but why are you making it? What value are you providing to the people? Then now you find them struggling. Yes, I have the platform ready, but they are struggling to find clients. But if you provide some kind of value to the client, your ideal client, the, the customers will come calling. That's what I'm saying. Don't go
Awesome.
blindly.
Yeah.
Provide value to whoever you're targeting.
Good
Yeah.
advice. It's so true. The why and value as you're building is super important. Awesome. Well, yeah, really great chatting with you, Lewis, and great meeting you. And I'll leave all of your links wherever this lives. So if it's on YouTube, it'll be in the YouTube description. If it's on any of our social media, there'll be a link to find how to find Lewis and how to get in contact with him if you have a project, if you have an idea, or if you just want to learn more about his background. But yeah, great meeting you today, and thank you for joining us for the Cafecito chat. It's been great.